He laughs like that guy from. You guys seen the movie The Goonies?
Yeah.
Sloth. He's got Sloth's laugh. I love it. It's good. I'm gonna go ahead and pretend you're not there. I'm easily distracted, as you can tell. Attention deficit disorder tour guide. All right, Alexander Dubček came to power in 1968. This was a very communist region, yeah? And he was kind of a funky, hip and with it kind of leader that was trying to change things from the inside out. And this was before communism was really solidified. I mean, it never really was. It was always, the Eastern Bloc was always just kind of, it was ready to drop at any point in time because nobody was ever really happy with it. And he was changing things and trying to be sneaky about it so that nobody would notice that he wasn't trying to be, he was trying to end the communism within his own country. So instead of giving people like full-on freedom of speech, he gave people the right to criticize the government. Instead of giving them freedom of travel, he gave them like 1-year, 2-year visas. Instead of giving them freedom of media, he just didn't block out outside radio from Germany, which the other countries were doing. And Russia figured out what he was doing, and Moscow decided, we need to invade this country and force them to be communist. So they lined up tanks all the way around the whole of Czechoslovakia in the middle of the night, and the plan was invade at midnight. For 2 reasons. Number one, it just freaking sounds badass. When are you gonna invade? Midnight. And also, because that is when the radios get shut off. So if the radios are off, is that making noise? Oni pracują, to pipe down, rub a dub. Have some more of that red wine, huh? There you go. He's not like a regular bum. He's a proper, look, he shaved once in the past couple of days. He's like a Wall Street bum. He's a classy executive wino. That's what he is. Now, the plan was to invade at midnight because the radios would get shut off at midnight, and that will end up a 6-hour head start. And this country would be, they'll wake up and it would be Russia by 6 a.m., which was an awesome, foolproof plan, except they forgot to check and see if this country observes daylight savings time, and they invaded at 11. So the radios were on. And as they crossed into the borders and stuff like that, the Czechs had enough time to get on the radio, and they said, everybody run outside and tell your friends to turn on their radios and await instructions, and we'll come up with something awesome. So everybody's waiting, and the Czechs have to be fast, and they have to be clever, because the thing of it is, this is not a heavily armed country. They don't have guns, they never have. They're landlocked, so it's not like they've ever had to protect themselves from pirates. They were always part of somebody else's empire, so somebody else already had a larger army to protect them. People don't have guns in their house. Jesus Christ. There are days when the streets are packed, but it's quiet. But today, just a few groups, they're loud. And this is a new development, the ice cream shack on the street. It's a fun little event. No, Czechs don't have guns. They've never needed them. They're farmers. They go to college. You know what I mean? They know how to grow stuff, and they don't even fight. Like, you see two big guys in a bar, and they'll get at each other. Oh, I'm a big guy. Oh, I'm a big guy too. Well, you're lucky I'm not gonna. Oh, no, you're the lucky one. All right, well, I'm leaving. Screw it. Yeah, that's it. I've never seen a fight here. It just never happens. Like, a guy cut me off on the highway, and this guy gets out of his car and picks up a rock, and I got out of my car, and I was like, are you gonna throw a rock in my car? And he goes, no. I was like, why'd you get the rock? And he goes, I don't know, you might have been bigger than me. I was like, I am kind of bigger than you. You didn't signal. He says, yes, I did. I go, well, I think it's broken. He says, well, let's check. It works. I was like, it didn't work before. Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, no, okay, you go. No, I'm leaving anyway. I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy, too. Walk on the ground, we both drive away. It's the lamest exchanges in this country. They're not violent people. Sorry. Just wanted to get that out of the way until these guys, no matter where I am, I gotta have it's a clean city, I guess, is essentially what we're learning. Garbage guys every 10 seconds. Now, they had to be clever, they had to be smart about how they're going to defend themselves. It's not like in America where it's like you get invaded by Russia. Oh, wake up, Grandpa! What? The Russians are here! Sorry, it's everybody in the States. Grandpa carries sidearms and talks like an 1840s prospector. The Russians are here, dagnabbit! Everybody's got a relative that looks and talks like Yosemite Sam. So you go to the Walmart or you open the drawer of Arsenal. This is how you defend yourself in the States. Now, so their plan was a two-part plan. Number one, go outside and tear down all the road signs except for the ones that say how to get to Moscow. Which is funny, really kind of an FU. And the second part of it was, go outside and rename every single town, city, and shire, just repaint it. And they renamed every single town Dubček, which is the name of the president, which is freaking hilarious for anybody who's not a Russian tank commander in 1968. So kids are waiting in the bushes for a tank to come in just so they can tell them, welcome to Dubček. Shh, 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 here comes a tank. Shh. You there, what city is this? Dubček. It's not on my map. Or kind of a small town. Well, anyway, I'm just gonna keep driving until I find a real town. Anyway, you've just been occupied. Booyah. Whoop, whoop. Hour later. You, what city is this? Dubček. But I left Dubček like an hour ago. Well, what can I say? You're in Dubček country, my friend. Who the hell are you? Steve. I'm the mayor of Dubček. You realize I'm not just one jackass driving around in a tank, yeah? There's like thousands of us. You're being invaded. As a matter of fact, you've just been invaded. Booyah! I'm calling my friends. All right, guys, where are you? We've taken the city of Dubček. But I'm in Dubček. Seriously? Get over here, man. We're partying. We're taking the whole town. And the hills, the cathedrals, the churches, they're all ours. Not one shot fired. We're awesome. Dubček's a village. Or like two villages an hour from each other. I think somebody's messing with us. 3 days. It took the Russians 3 days to find Prague. You could walk across this whole country in 1 day. And they had tanks and trains. Trains on tracks that pulled in and out of Dubček stations all over the country. You realize, leaving Dubček, next stop, oh God, don't say it. Dubček, God damn it! Ultimately, they had to grab it. They killed 72 people to find Prague, because the Russians take themselves pretty seriously, full stop. Take themselves extremely seriously when they're in the middle of an invasion occupation type of thing. So they probably just went to some map store, find some jackass who can find Prague in the dark, you know, because they don't have GPS or satellites or any of this stuff in the time. So they just go to some map store, kick the door in, grab some guy, hey! Where the hell is Prague? Yeah, you mean Big Dubček? And they get out here, and like, think of it as, I don't have any actual footage or any text to support this. I would pay to find out what Alexander Dubček was doing exactly when they caught him, because I know he was in his office, and I know it was 20 armed Czech guys, and I know that it went smoothly. I'm sorry, Czech guys, armed Russians. It was 20 armed Russian guys that went to his office and thought he was gonna be holed up in there like a fort, and they just walked in and they walked out with him. But I was thinking, he's a cheeky guy anyway, so I figure he's gotta have like a 72-ounce steak, like a gigantic like lobster bib, and he's just busy. You know, they just kick the door in. Freeze, Dubček! Hey! Russia! Find the place all right? And they grab him and they shove him in a box and they ship him off to Moscow and they reprogram him and then they let him bring him back. And they let him finish his term. And at the end of it, they just replaced him with puppets. And from every time you saw a picture of this country from 1968 until 1989, there was a tank in the photo. There was a tank on this street, there was a tank on that square. There was tanks everywhere, because they were forced to be communists from 1968. And this period of time when things were awesome during Dubček's reign was called the Prague Spring, and the Russians crushed it. Now, sorry, not real puppets, yeah? They were replaced by a puppet regime. Yeah, that's a metaphor for, I want you guys walking off going, turn on the TV in 1972. Hi! I'm the president. I didn't vote for this Muppet. No! It's a metaphor. Now, on January 16, 1969, Jan Palach, a young philosophy student at Charles University, which we'll go see later on, walks out on Wenceslas Square and dumps gasoline all over himself and sets himself on fire, takes his own life right on the square. And they gave a memorial for it. And he actually did this not in protest to the Russians, but in protest to the Czechs for not having a better strategy to defend themselves. For being cheeky, clever, and basically